All right, hi everyone. So we're a couple minutes before the top of the hour, so we just went ahead and started the recording. We are going to wait just a few minutes, certainly for others to join. We know how it is kind of going back and back to back meetings. So with that said, I just wanted to mention all of our attendees are on mute. So if you have any questions throughout the course of the webinar, we're here to answer them. Just go ahead and drop them in the question box and we'll make sure that we get a chance to answer those after the webinar. All right, I do see that it's 2 o'clock and we want to be mindful of your time, right? So I wanted to kick things off. My name is Amanda Meadis. I'm marketing director here at TPA Stream and your moderator today. I'm the one that pushes all the fancy buttons, so hopefully I nail that. On the line today, it looks like we have a lot of existing clients and also some new potential clients too, which is always really exciting to see, and a good melding of the minds of current experiences and also potentially new experiences with claims harvesting. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to be here and join us. We know that you'll get a lot out of today's conversation with our panelists today. So the topic of today's webinar is how to differentiate your TPA and streamline your operations. That's kind of a mouthful, but the truth is that we can help you with both with our claims harvesting software. So all of our attendees are on mute right now. So if you have any questions, go ahead and put those in the question box and we'll make sure that we get to answer those either through the course of the webinar or during our Q&A time at the very end. So today's panelists, today I'm joined by Jacob Sheridan, co-founder and CEO of TPA Stream, who's going to be hosting our discussion with our panelists today, as well as Blair Arbuckle, who's our Director of Customer Success, who's going to lead the demo at the end of the webinar. So Jacob, I'm going to pass it over to you to introduce our panelists, but before I do, I did want to mention Courtney unfortunately lost power just moments before our webinar. So we're going to be talking a little bit more of a deep dive with Adam here today. And then certainly if Courtney is able to join us, we'll make sure that we get a chance to tell her story as well. Jacob, can I pass it over to you?
Yes, sounds great. Thank you so much, Amanda, and good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us. As Amanda mentioned, one of our panelists hopefully will be joining shortly here, and we do have Adam Dupuis with us, who's the President and Director of Sales of HRC Total Solutions. Adam, why don't you take a minute to introduce yourself?
Yeah, happy to, and thank you all for joining and for this opportunity. Jacob, Blair, Amanda, and team. I'm the president, partner, and director of sales at HRC Total Solutions. I've been in the industry for about 13 years. And, my whole passion is on the sales side mainly, but of course I enjoy operations because the better operations can run, the better the sales can go, of course. And so my, job at HRC is to make sure, one, we're gaining opportunities, winning those opportunities, and learning how to differentiate ourselves in the marketplace, along with streamlining operations, making them more efficient. So that's kind of my roles with HRC and where I've come from. And, we're an organization of about 75 employees, over 3,000 employer groups, over 100,000 participants we do administration for today.
Fantastic. And I'll probably add a couple other things for you to share with us while we're waiting for Courtney. One thing, can you just talk to real quick, is the different solutions from a technology standpoint that you use in addition to TPA Stream today?
Yeah, happy to. The different solutions, I'll say technology can only help everybody. And I think understanding that you need to take the time to learn about the different technologies out there, how they can work together. And that's what we've done a great job with. And that being said, we work with a platform partner, our plan WEX, We've worked with WEX since they even had inception back in 2001. They were Lighthouse 1, Evolution 1, now they're WEX. And they've continued to grow with us and enhance the products that we offer to our clients. So that's the main benefit administration platform, which is nice. The integration between TPA Stream and WEX has really helped our efficiency in-house, which my operations team does love. Outside of that, we utilize plans like Salesforce. Salesforce is something we use internally for customer service mainly. I don't know what I'd do without Salesforce today, but it's nice having a lot of the WEX and TPA Stream information housed within that system, integration within those systems between all the vendors. And outside of that, we use document systems, RTO benefits, to create all those plan documents for our groups.
Fantastic. Yeah, we're a big believer in Salesforce as well, and can't imagine running our organization without it. Awesome. Thank you so much.
I certainly started with Salesforce later after we started, and before we did, we had binders and things, and that was the scariest thing ever.
Definitely. All right. Well, I think we're going to poll the audience next. Amanda, I'll pass it back to you. Amanda, you're muted.
Sure, let me just pull this poll up. Can everyone see the poll? How do you differentiate your services? What sets you apart? Here we are. So we wanted to ask everybody on the screen today, how do you differentiate your services? What sets you apart as the TPA leader in your space? I'm really curious to learn how everybody, differentiates obviously in our market, because there's, quite a bit of geographical, approach to the TPA market. So I'm really curious to know a little bit more about this. So we'll just wait for a few more minutes for people to quickly respond. It looks like the responses are rolling in. I'll just let one more just came through. So thank you for that. All right, we're going to put these results on the screen now. Ooh, okay. So it looks like a lot of the TPAs on the line today are differentiating with customer service. Other popular answers are efficiency, the range of our offerings, technology, as well as being known in our market or niche. So that I found that really interesting because the customer service tends to be a way that we can lead. And I know, Adam, you had some insights in terms of how your customer service team uses TPA Stream to make sure that we're driving good outcomes on the customer service side. So I'm really interested to talk to you a little bit more about that today.
Awesome. Yeah, this is fantastic. And we can definitely talk to how folks are differentiating today. So Amanda, yeah, thanks for the survey here. Let's jump into it. And Adam, why don't you just kind of start off by talking about, how did you get started using claims harvesting? How did you find out about TPA Stream? Let's just start there, and then we'll take it into a couple other areas, talk about implementation and some of the benefits after.
Yeah, you got it. I mean, ultimately where we came into play with TPA Stream is we were in the market to find ways to differentiate ourselves within the industry, put in more technology to help streamline services, and we didn't know where to look. And luckily, while I was at our annual WEX partner conference, there was a booth set up by TPA Stream, and I thought I was going to grab a free stress ball and learn a quick minute or two and grab some flyers. But the conversation grew, and it was a nice long conversation to learn more about all the aspects of TPA Stream, not only what we're utilizing today, but what we're working on implementing with TPA Stream. It continued with more conversations after that between everybody, Jacob being involved as well, which is always nice when you have those founders and partners involved showing a passion about what they do, because that's something I have. So, our immediate look was at claims harvesting. We're looking at, okay, great, we can reduce substantiation of debit card transactions. We can automate HRAs that normally require EOBs to be submitted by members. So that was a great thing that we learned about it. We wanted to at least get our foot in the door with TPA Stream, and we did. And from there, we had help with making our enrollment process more efficient. We're looking at the invoice solutions from TPA Stream.
Let's expand on that a little bit. And, when we first started talking, Adam, I remember talking about the regional market that you guys operate in and how certain players in the market are able to work directly with health plans to get claims files from those health plans to automate substantiation and reimbursement, and others for all sorts of fun reasons don't have access to that data. Can you just talk to how you guys have kind of approached trying to get those feeds in place, some of the challenges maybe, and then, how you saw TPA Stream and our claims harvesting product as a solution when you aren't able to get those feeds in place?
Yeah, with HRA specifically, integration with health insurance carriers can only benefit everybody involved, from employers to brokers to employees to the third-party administrator as well. And we've had great success connecting with many different carriers, but as we all know, there's hundreds of carriers throughout the country. We at HRC, we don't want to be just a regional administrator because there's opportunities outside of our region. So we needed to find a way to connect with different carriers, which claims harvesting really allowed us to do, because I'm sure we've all been into the scenario where we're reaching out to somebody at a specific carrier and you either get nowhere or it goes somewhere and then to another person, and then all of a sudden it falls off because fourth quarter comes. So having that experience of challenges to get any integration with carriers, we didn't know where to go. So claims harvesting really helped us get that integration to, again, not just enhance our HRA offering, but enhance our other products, which we didn't even know was going to be possible.
That's awesome. And let's kind of go into an area. So we know you're the sales guy. We'll come back to sales in a minute and talk about the different ways that you can really leverage claims harvesting to win more business. But let's talk about something that everyone, really cared about and thought really helped differentiate their brand, which is customer service, right? We think about the services that we provide and all sorts of features and functionality that we can add on to those services to make them more attractive. But what's really interesting is how customer service continues to differentiate administrators from their competitors. And just would love to hear how you guys think about customer service with claims harvesting and how you've, looked at using the product across your CS team at HRC.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, customer service, as I think everyone who really hit on that poll that's one of the most important things to HRC. That's how we've differentiated ourselves. That's how we've gone up against the larger third parties out in the world. And because a lot of clients are looking for dedicated AMs, account managers, they're looking for response time, which not just a ticket, not just I'll get back to you in a few business days. So in order to be successful at that, providing our customer service team technology is such an important thing, because they need to have things at their fingertips to be able to answer questions on an initial call, not having to worrying about following up with them via email, phone calls, etc. Because as we all know, if you can't resolve something on the initial call, then that employee may go to their HR. They may not have the full satisfaction that we really want to provide. And using TPA Stream and the different levels of access we can provide to our team really helped us with a lot of our groups, because they're implementing claims harvesting to automate plans, increase substantiation of debit card transactions, but questions will always come in, as we all know. So giving employees access to the information, whether it's this person's registered for claims harvesting, or they're not validated, or they're locked out because their member portal with their insurance carrier changed. Imagine not having access to that as a customer service rep and feeling uncomfortable. So having TPA Stream give us that ability to give our reps access to the system without modifying anything within the system was very important to us. That made us successful when we rolled this out to our team, because they knew that they were empowered to provide this information, gather the information, versus go to a spreadsheet or go to their manager to obtain information, then follow up.
It's really interesting, Adam, because, when we first built TPA Stream back in 2014, a while ago, early on, we heard feedback from customers that they wanted visibility, right? And so we built out our dashboard, we built out our claims page, we built out our member page to provide as much visibility as to who's enrolled with claims harvesting, who's not enrolled. Does anyone have a login problem? We created this concept of a login problem. And we have a bunch of login problems that we manage on our side, and then some that we bubble up to our customers. And after we started having more and more customers use it, the concept of controlling access became that much more important. And so, the way that it works now, we do have kind of different permission levels. I believe for your team, you guys kind of use a read-only approach for the customer service team, and you have different folks that have write access. And we've built out those levels. And so it's great to hear that your team uses it so much. We continue to hear that our customers love it. One of the other things you mentioned was being able to resolve customer service calls quickly, right? And being able to have the documentation at your fingertips. And so when someone calls in with an issue related to a claim and they've registered with claims harvesting, you're able to quickly search for their accounts. You can find all their respective claims. And we just continue to hear from all sorts of customers how long that process can take if you don't have that data and you're going back and forth and asking them to send it, and you cut off the bottom of the page that actually has the detail in it. And so it's been really just really rewarding for me to see how we've been able to help so many folks in the customer service area, not only giving them access to data, but then also for management and folks like you being able to control exactly what everyone's doing because the data that we're managing is so sensitive. Let's see here. All right, so let's talk about sales. That's your neck of the woods. We just continue to hear from clients how competitive the market is, right? You have private equity firms trying to gobble up TPAs left and right. Everyone's competing on price. And so, we'd just love to hear, how you guys approach sales and how having claims harvesting as a feather in your hat helped you guys win more business.
Yeah, certainly. And, in the market, there's so many different types of businesses trying to get into our third-party administration market, whether it's brokers trying to do administration in-house, or payroll companies is a big one. They're trying to provide, we'll throw your FSA in for free, HRA in for free, et cetera, if you use us for payroll. And we all know it's smoke and mirrors. They're building those fees into the payroll processing, but they can't provide the support that we can, especially using TPA Stream. So, with that being said, TPA Stream, the claims harvesting specifically, allowed us to be more flexible than our competitors. Because an example of that, we talked claims integration from insurance carriers. For HRAs to be automated, we need to have that claims data sent to us somehow, and employees don't like submitting EOBs. So claims harvesting, having a file sent to us in the format that we need to import into our WEX portal makes everything more efficient. One, employees don't have to submit any claims like they would with many other vendors because it's automated. We automatically send those reimbursements out, reporting's there for those members. And so having that over a lot of our competitors really helped us, one, win opportunities, but win more bids that we had because nobody wants to do anything manual. That's probably the biggest negative feedback from any employee in an HRA or FSA is, I don't want to submit documentation. Doesn't matter if we offer mobile apps, online accounts, they don't want to do the work. And HR members, sometimes those HR team leads are really hand-holding their employees. So they're enabling this kind of, non-consumerism, if you will. So we have to adapt to that. And in order to adapt, you need to find ways to automate, which is claims harvesting, of course, which is really good. And more important, HRC, we do sell direct to some employers when they reach out to us, but we're really direct through broker relationships, health insurance brokers, different kinds of associations like bank associations, et cetera. And how we were successful with something like claims harvesting is making sure our brokers understand we're here to support you, the broker, and give your clients what you need. And how do we do that? With technology and customer service. And once we showed a lot of our brokers what we can do with our claims harvesting feature, especially substantiating debit cards, automating HRAs, they almost looked at us like their sole third-party administration partner. They're not going to spreadsheet us anymore with other folks. We're going to go ahead and just say, hey, here's a couple because you want us to give you three, but our finger's pointing to HRC because they can do everything in the fashion that we want, we're comfortable with, and that has longevity and room for scale. I think scalability is a big thing with a lot of the, startups we all may work with. They go from 10 employees to 100. So making sure brokers are comfortable with what the product is, how they can leverage it to win more business is only going to help you as a third party really gain more opportunities, win more opportunities. Because I can certainly say my opportunities have increased probably 25 to 30% in 2021, just because of the claims harvesting and what you can do with it. And I wouldn't have had those additional opportunities without this technology.
Fantastic. I mean, it's obviously great to hear as a software vendor, software partner. But I think, you know, while you're doing an awesome job from a sales perspective, your customer service team is using it. One of the other things I think that you've nailed is the implementation, right? How you implemented this internally, how you implement this externally. So let's just talk about that. I mean, how much time did you guys spend implementing this internally? How much time did you spend, you know, creating materials and sharing with, you know, different brokers and employers? Well, let's just talk about the implementation piece, and then after this, we'll hand it over to Blair to do a short demo of claims harvesting. But yeah, I mean, you're a really awesome example of a customer that's just found so much success. And so let's maybe give away a few things, some of your secret sauce, not everything, that you've done to be really successful.
You got it. Implementation is always that scary word for many operations people, because it's a lot to take on. And how you design that implementation is, you know, one thing I'll mention is TPA Stream was great at communication, but communication has to go both ways. So having your dedicated team internally when you implement anything, including true substantiation and other TPA Stream technologies, is have dedicated reps in-house that are going to work with the dedicated reps TPA Stream offers and make sure they're communicating. And that's something that really helped us be successful at not only getting the plan up and running quickly, but better understanding the plan, because we had to have operations internally put processes in place. We had to have my marketing team create materials. Once we had all that up and running and our operations and managers were comfortable, we then had to educate our employees that handle customer service, our account managers. And I'll tell anyone that implements any technology like this, you need to be confident in this on all aspects, meaning in every department you have, customer service, account managers, operations. People need to know what the product is, what it can do, and how it benefits them, because we have employees calling in. We have employer contacts calling their account manager asking about it. And an example of why it's so important to make sure the whole team is up and ready for this with materials, how it works, internal processes, is when we did some marketing on this. Of course, we're trying to get some more business with this new feature. So we looked at different books of business, our HRA book of business, our FSA book of business, had some email marketing campaigns to be directed towards them and their plans. Well, the next step for a lot of our contacts, the HR people, are to reach out to their account manager they built rapport with, because that's what they want to do. Even if we tell them to call sales, that's what's going to happen. So if your account managers are not ready to talk about this, you might leave some crumb on the table. And that's something no administrator wants to do, especially as a sales side or executive level, because if they can't talk to it, that means you as a TPA didn't do a good job preparing them, and you might have lost some business to somebody else. So that's, I mean, implementation is, it can be, you know, smooth, dedicated people, communication, creating materials, and then roll it out properly. And I think we had a little more success because we didn't roll it out to everybody at once, prospects, brokers. We said current clients and brokers. But I'll tell you, the broker piece, because if you work directly through brokers, getting them on board before you communicate anything to your employers, I think is another piece that made us successful with this launch, because they're our advocates. They're the ones saying, oh, great, our client got that notice. We already knew this, so we weren't blindsided, and we felt better about it as a broker to bring you into the loop here.
Yeah, no, it's, you know, it's funny. It goes back to the basics, right? You want no surprises, right? You want everyone to be able to expect and to understand what's going on, right? And I think you've done a really good job of that with all the different stakeholders, because there's so many different parties involved. Because a third-party administrator, right, the majority of their business comes from the broker channel, right? And sometimes there's general agencies and larger brokerages that are part of the conversation. And I think it's really understanding who are your stakeholders, internal and external, and making sure that you're communicating, you're setting the right expectations, you're avoiding surprises, and positioning them to really be able to utilize this technology and expect what's going to happen when folks roll this out, potential challenges participants might have when signing up. You know, if someone doesn't remember their username and password for their insurance company online portal, they're probably going to have a challenge enrolling in claims harvesting. So No, I think that's fantastic. So let's see here. Let's transition for a minute. Blair, why don't you share a quick demo of the enrollment process, and then we can address some questions from the audience.
Sure thing. All right, everyone. I just shared my screen, and what we're looking at here is our easy enrollment experience embedded within, a mobile app. As we've grown as a company and started working with, more than TPAs, to be able to embed, the easy enrollment process, which is gathering the participants' credentials right within your website or mobile app to make it native to your offering has been in strong demand. So we built this toolkit where, along with other options we have to engage participants, this is just one of many. So we have this JavaScript SDK toolkit. We have email campaigns you can send out, create custom URLs, many different options to support your team. But today we're going to take a quick look here at that easy enrollment experience embedded within a mobile app for our company here, Sunny Benefits. So we're going to go ahead and click on Get Started. And now this is walking through this as a participant. So we're first, just talking about adding your insurance carriers and how easy it is. Just preparing, the participant, on the next screen, you're going to be prompted to add your login information, whether that's for medical, dental, vision, or RX. You will have the option to add your dependents credentials as well. And then after this, your EOBs are going to be automatically sent to Sunny Benefits for processing, or whoever that may be. So first, we're going to select our carrier, and now we can have this predefined. So for a certain employer group, if you only want to see Aetna or United Healthcare, you can do that. You can also add a drop-down list for the participant to select any. We're going to go ahead and click on Aetna. From here, we're going to enter our username and password. And now, as a best practice, which I'm sure Adam's team is very well aware of, setting expectations with the broker partners, with your employer groups is key. So, first thing before advising anybody to go through this is, hey, Jane, do you know what your login credentials are? If not, you should probably start by logging onto your carrier and making sure your credentials work. Or you may not even have them set up. So you want to take that as the first step, knowing your credentials so you can go through this process real easy. I know mine. So we're going to click here and enter our credentials. Also, as the participant, they're going to consent to the terms of use and acknowledge that their claims are going to automatically be sent to that end entity, in this case, Sunny Benefits. Click Submit, and we validate these credentials in real time. And from here, it was a success. So the credentials are valid. From here, the participant can add additional logins if they'd like. So, to make sure we're able to pull in the full picture of all claims data, if a dependent is, age 16 or older, a spouse, go ahead and add their credentials so you can get all that claim data so that you can reimburse appropriately. Maybe if coordination of benefits comes into play, you'll just have a great picture of everything. And that is it.
Awesome. It's as easy as that. So Blair, let's keep the spotlight on you for a second. As our Director of Customer Success, you're spending a lot of time working with all of our customers. One of the things that we continue to get asked about is multi-factor authentication. Why don't you just talk about that for a minute? We might have a slide that we can share as well, Amanda, and just share, some of the things that we're seeing from carrier websites and how TPA Stream addresses them.
Yeah, multi-factor authentication, MFA, those, that acronym everybody on this line probably loves to hear. Being able to acknowledge it's kind of front and center in everyone's lives right now, just as we move to, technology is a huge part of it. Whether, I'm trying to sign into an app to talk to my kids after school care, I have to enter a PIN that verifies I'm the father of this child. You didn't have to use to do that. Well, I mean, my parents never used an app. So, multi-factor is definitely, it's here, and we need to embrace it and just set expectations around it. So when we're thinking of carriers that will implement MFA, TPA Stream is going to find and advise our clients that if there's an option outside of using a multi-factor authentication, such as an email or a text message, and we can use security questions, we're going to advise you guys to set that up with your employer groups to just streamline it a little better. But in those instances where we can't, we're here to support you. We're going to provide guides and walkthroughs and, help you guys implement claims harvesting with an MFA carrier. And, that may be where the participant needs to have some responsibility, even though they're not submitting a claim anymore. They may have to have responsibility to enter a code or click on a link once a week, once every other week, once a month, kind of depending on your practices of reimbursing for claims. So yeah, that's where we're at with MFA, and we always try to keep a leg up on this. So our current customers on the phone webinar with us today, we're always looking for partners when you come across a carrier with MFA. If we can connect and work with a participant to get a solution in place, we always want to be ahead of the curve and make sure that we're not creating any additional support work for you guys.
And if I may just chime in for a second, Blair, one thing that we learned as we started using it, getting the experience with MFA, was just ask questions. Meaning, when we're onboarding a client, working with a broker, we're asking them, hey, confirm with the carriers that we're going to be integrating with what rules they have for MFA. So it might give you a leg up to better understand how to create those customized employee materials, maybe ask, TPA stream support questions. So it's more of a successful implementation.
Great comment, Adam. Yes, absolutely. Communication is key. We're partners. We're not just selling you software. Our success is rested on your success. So if we can help you drive that, that's what we're here for.
Awesome. Fantastic. All right, let's see here. We have a question around the enrollment percentage. And what percent of members are able to share credentials, agree to share credentials? Since we have a customer on the line, Adam, we'll turn this over to you. I always tell folks it comes down to marketing and how the service is introduced. Is it introduced as an optional service, or is it introduced as a service everyone should sign up for? But why don't I let our folks on the line here hear it from you?
Yeah, for sure. I think that's always going to be the biggest challenge. As we know, maybe 30% of employees even set up their member portals with their health insurance carriers. So how employers concerned is, well, how are we going to get them to do that, then register for this claims harvesting? It's having conversations. It's educating the employees on the benefits of this. And kind of like what Jacob just said, is it's the requirement to enroll in the plan. And that's probably one of the more successful ways to do about it, is you're required in order to get your HRA reimbursement, or until your FSA is active. You could have that stance, but not all employers will fit in that, option there. And it could be just something where they say, hey, it's available. And if you don't employees, then you're going to do things manually. And one thing I'll mention is when we have groups with an HRA mainly reimbursing claims, and there's a bunch of employees that don't want to sign up for this, we do one of two things. One, we try to educate those employees, say, okay, well, you'll have to do this manually then, which is submitting your EOB, which you can do this way. But keep in mind, if you register, we're going to only be pulling that same information. So it's just saving you a step. Because a lot of times employees feel that, well, you're going to have access to all kinds of information I don't want you to have access to. And once you make them feel more comfortable that, no, it's just the EOB data we need to do our job, phrase we use is minimum necessary information, it usually gets them a little more comfortable. And so our success rate is a lot greater with getting registrations on there. And if there's a lot of people that still don't want to, then a lot of times we'll have two HRAs in our system, one that's integrated, meaning automated, then the second one we enroll employees in that it's straight manual claim submission. So you have different reporting for that for the, you as an employer, your brokers, because that will come into play when you're looking at renewal with your client. Say, here's claims utilization for both. A lot of manual people probably procrastinated or haven't sent them. So there's all kinds of ways to roll that out, but success, I would say, is different for every group, because I have groups that are salt of the earth, cranberry bog workers. As you can imagine, that is one of the difficult people to get enrolled, and the HR person is the one pulling them into their office to register them for their member portals with the carrier and with this. So understanding the client and their employees is an important piece. So you can say, hey, HR, broker, how can we best roll this out to increase registration or make sure the adoption is great? It's find out what works for the HR team. If it's that HR person sitting with each employee doing it, make sure you create a process for that that's going to be easy for them. And if not, find out, okay, is it emails? Because we do the 9-day email campaign a lot where employees get 4 emails in 9 days until they register. Then after that's done, we're very big on providing reporting to our clients and brokers to let them know that success rate. So they're aware that these employees haven't even tried to do anything. So when you see utilization low, this is why. And then we either start another 9-day campaign or provide a nice employee handout or email template the employer can use with a custom URL to give to new hires and those ones that haven't enrolled, registered, so they can do so after the fact. So success, I think it's all about how you approach each client to better understand their employees and what's going to work for them.
Fantastic. Let's see here. We have some other questions coming in. Do you charge your employer clients for claim servicing?
Yeah, great question. And that's going to come down to oftentimes size. We work with groups from 1 subscriber to 5,000 subscribers plus, so when I'm looking at, bids and whatnot or current clients, I'm going to come into play of what's the participation going to be. When it's good participation, I'm a guy, I'll go home, have a hamburger. I don't need a steak. I want long-term clients, and technology is not the only thing that's going to allow that, but it's also those fees, as that bottom line is important to many people. Especially if you're working with those CFOs when you're implementing these things. So larger clients oftentimes will just give that as part of it. It's just, oh, this is one of the value adds of utilizing us as your administrator is this is something employees can register with to increase substantiation of debit cards or automate their HRA versus the smaller groups that may be more the, we need volume to really get good revenue. We usually relate as an option, say, here's our standard fees and that sliding scale, but we can automate things with this as an option. And I always tell groups that, or my competitors, because there's enough business out there for all of us, and we're all friends too, is when I do that sliding scale, it helps us get in front of the client. Because I'm sure many of you on the sales side, you provide a formal proposal with all kinds of great data, but then the brokers take it, put it on a spreadsheet, and all they put in there is the numbers. And then the client's going to look at the lowest cost number and start there a lot of the times because they think we can all do the same thing and we all use the same platforms, but we don't. So by giving the lower cost option for, say, our per employee per month fee along with a larger cost option, they want to inquire more about that. So I'm getting more finalist meetings because of that. And what I say the success is we get the higher admin fee because once you talk to them about what this claims harvesting can do to enhance the experience of members, they think, why wouldn't we go with this? And why don't other administrators have that?
Awesome. Let's continue kind of on that line. So in thinking about, kind of when you started actually first kind of using this, we got a question around beta testing and how you guys looked at that. We have all sorts of different clients that take different approaches. Some that are larger might move around the data and test the data between their systems. Others that are smaller might just start enrolling employer groups and say, yeah, we're going to enroll 10 before we enroll 100. So just curious as you think about like beta testing and where testing might help and or where it might not be needed.
Yeah, you got it. I mean, beta testing is one of the most important things with HRC when rolling out any new feature that affects our business and, the member experience, employer experience. So that's something we did with some of our clients. And we looked at size for sure, not our largest clients, but more those mid-sized clients and some smaller clients, just so one, we got the experience, we got the feedback so we can fine tune what we needed. And also, if you offer your team any benefits like HRAs, FSAs, and you can utilize this, give your team access to register for the claims harvesting, because that's only going to make them feel more comfortable, confident in the product, and better relay in customer service scenarios. So beta testing was very important. The clients were open to it. And again, as we've heard throughout the thing, communication. As long as you let them know this is a beta test and they're like, we're willing to do it. Like for me, with a couple of our beta testing clients, we let them know there's no cost for this. We just need you to beta test. We want to enhance your benefits. And if it works out and you want to maintain this, we're giving you 2 years of this at no cost, but understanding year 3, you're going to get an increase in admin fees. And usually they're not going to want to take away that benefit after employees are utilizing it.
Oh, that's awesome. That's a really great way of introducing it, right? And it's being really transparent about what this is, right? This is a new service. We haven't used it before. We think it's going to be fantastic for you. Try it out. If you like it, well, then you'll get to keep it for 2 years. I think that's an awesome approach. It's probably one we need to share with more of our customers. It's great to hear that, you found success with that strategy. Let's see, I think we're kind of nearing the end of this webinar here. Amanda, any other questions or anything we want to share at the end here?
We haven't gotten it. We had a few more additional questions, but like you said, Jacob, we are out of time today. We just wanted to share, some of the highlight results from some of the clients that we've seen use claims harvesting. Thank you so much for everybody joining today's webinar. We hope that it was informative to hear Adam's story in particular and dive a little bit deeper into how he's used claims harvesting. Hopefully we answered a lot of your questions about the software. Thank you, Adam, for joining us today. And certainly thank you to Jacob and Blair for taking us through the webinar today. So for those on the line, if you do have any questions, we would love to hear from you. Just drop us a line at sales@TPA Stream or give us a call, and we'd love to set up a custom conversation with you to talk to you about how claims harvesting might help your business. So thanks again for joining, and we'll see you soon.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Adam.
Thank you.
You got it, guys. Thank you.